Hi everyone, we are doing a little test of AmosPro in E-UAE. We are testing, comparing interprinted versus JIT emulations today, and we're going to show you the brilliant Babylon 5 object my friend Sonova has converted for the Amiga. Yeah, the normal Babylon 5 object was a bit too complex for our needs, so we have reduced it a little bit, but it's still pretty complex, and it's going to be a hard task for Amos to work on. So let's get started. We're going to show the interprinted emulation first and take it from there. Okay, we have found the directory which the project we are going to start, and this is actually an small 3D Max routine. We also have script written. We have 212 lines of code, nothing more. It's pretty simple. We're doing some simple rotations, and we are loading in the object and drawing it, just a wireframe, nothing else. So let's get started with this. Now it's loading in the Babylon 5 object. It's as you can see, it takes a bit of time. There's a pretty big object with lots of vertices and faces, so you have to be a bit patient. This is the interpreted version of E-UAE, and it's not the fastest. As you can see, this one takes 90% of the CPU on the X1000. It takes a lot of time, a lot of CPU to run E-UAE, and that's why I don't particularly like E-UAE. It's pretty much slows down the whole system, and this is what we want to avoid with using our own interprinter running on the X1000. We're not going to show you Amos kittens right now, but I was thinking about filling some time and talking about it while it was loading. Okay, here we have the vertices. The first number 4,413, and we have 10,707 faces. So pressing enter here, doing some calculations. Takes a bit of time before we can draw anything. Now it's drawing the graphics. We're going to let it run maybe 3 or 4 frames before we switch over to the JIT version, so you can see the compare how fast the JIT version with the interprinted version of E-UAE. This is pretty much, yeah, there's no FPS here because you know, if it was FPS it would be the 0.00 something. This is not particularly fast rendering of the graphics. It's after all a basic we are using now to display the graphics, and it does what it does. Basic is also interprinted, though not ASCII. It's interprinted tokens, slightly faster. Amos is a pretty good interprinter. So it was really efficient on the Amiga 500, and it was a language that many used to create small projects and games, and very popular at the time when it came. Of course, the problem was that it didn't evolve with Amiga. The Amiga 1200 came, and there wasn't any AmosPro for Amiga 1200 or AGA graphics. And certainly it doesn't support Picasso 96 or retargetable graphics. There's a few limitations there. Of course, this was made before there were any audio drivers, before there were any real support for USB or anything like that on Amiga, so AmosPro doesn't support any of that. The language has aged a bit, and it'd be nice if people working on Amos and update it. And there are people working on it. The Amos factory people are trying to maintain the old source code. Of course, Amos Kittens is targeting the AmigaONE-X1000 users primarily, but of course backporting wouldn't be impossible. It's C code. Everyone has a C compiler. Everyone that knows the code can compile it, change it, or modify it to their needs. So yeah, possibly we can see somebody, or hope that somebody does that. For now it's about keeping it, moving forward with it. Alright. So we have rendered a few frames in the interprinted version, and you can see it's slow. It takes time to see each frame. It's yeah, it's not a lot to say about it. It takes ages. I think it's cool to look at, just see how it draws every tiny face. So now let's show you the JIT version. We're going to run a bit faster, you might imagine. So that was the interprinted version of E-UAE. It uses a lot of CPU. We have problems with the JIT version. It seems that somebody has hard coded it, and we can't run it in Windows mode on Workbench. Sadly, it will open its own screen, and we can't kind of toggle between our text editor and look at code at the same time. Sadly, I don't understand people who do that. You know, we have a configuration file, and it's meant to be used. It's meant to be allow people to change things and make it work on their computer like they want to have it. That's part of what this configuration means. You know, whether you want to override the configuration, it's stupid. I have to say, but really brilliant work has been done on the JIT compiler for PowerPC, and it's now we have it running in its own screen, and let's professional and load. Project down here somewhere. A lot of test version, all this different processes, some kind of related to the projects, doing tests on it. So particular project we have find that as maximum. So if you want to use the source, you have to either modify it to convert it to more phases and vertices, or you would probably want to convert your obvious to best in the phases. So that's right. And you can see a huge difference in speed between the JIT version and the independent version. This is almost no time on the back screen, on the calculation screen. It goes much faster. You can actually almost imagine using this some kind of to render something about it. If you could set a buffer and do all the 3D calculations, like sources and stuff like that, you can imagine that even this version will be extremely slow. It isn't ideal program to use to do rendering, but you can do it. As I can show you, it's rendering the Babylon 5 object in Wireframe. So why not? Yeah. Somebody replace the version of the Babylon 5 station. I would really like to see that. Even if it goes next years to render. So, okay, we have already rendered lots more frames than we had in the rendered version. So let's head short. We can't see this object in the sequence. So, sorry, there are bugs to work out. But I thought it would be cool to just show you the difference in speed between the rendered and JIT version. The actual speed is, I think it's about 60 to 50 megahertz in the JIT. So you can see, you can look at the Amiga demos with JIT. I'll also show you something else. You will see it actually takes up 85 to 83 or 90% CPU from the X1000 OS 4.1 system. So yeah, it runs programs faster in JIT and E-UAE, but it does take a lot of resources. If it's JIT or independent, it will slow down AmigaOS 4.1. Sadly, this is a huge problem, and this is why we want to make our own interpreter to allow the Amos program to run at its own pace and in its own use its own delays. The area will try to emulate chips, audio, everything, even if it isn't used. So this is why we'll have a high CPU usage, and also CPU emulations takes a lot of time, so we don't want any of that. Those things belong in for running C64 emulation or anything else. We don't. This is an Amiga system. We want to run things natively in our AmigaOS environment if we can get away from all the hardware banging stuff. So yeah, that's all for now, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video, and like to hear from you guys what you think of this project. Bye bye.